Hello, and welcome to The Sleepy Physicist. I'm genuinely glad you're here tonight. Maybe you're already curled beneath the covers, the hum of the world outside your window fading slowly, almost like a whisper. Or perhaps you're lying on a couch still, letting the weight of the day drift gently from your shoulders. However you've arrived here, this little space, it's made just for you. A quiet, delicate place between waking and dreaming. Tonight, we embark on a slow, thoughtful journey into something that touches each of us nightly, yet rarely gets the attention it truly deserves. We are going to explore the hidden landscape of sleep and the curious, luminous world of dreams that lives quietly within it. But we won't rush. We will drift, like a leaf on a gentle stream, carried softly by wonder, by awe, by that quiet whisper of curiosity. And just a small note, I've done my best to make this narration soothing, perhaps even sleep-inducing. But if by chance the science keeps your mind awake a little longer, well, at least you'll drift off a little wiser. If you're enjoying this moment already, I'd be grateful if you tap the like button or subscribe for more journeys into the mysteries of bedtime. And if you feel like sharing, tell me in the comments where in the world you're listening from and what hour it is there. I love watching that map light up, one soft soul at a time. As always, this journey is for relaxation and education. It's not a substitute for medical care, sleep therapy, or professional support. Now, take a deep breath. Let the day fall quietly behind you, and let's begin. There's a moment just before sleep arrives, when the edges of the world start to blur. You lie still. Your limbs, once busy with errands and gestures, grow heavy. The noise of the day, the tasks, the questions, the bright, sharp logic of waking life begins to fade. It's not silence exactly, more like a softening, a gentle, quiet dimming. You are not asleep yet, but you are no longer fully awake either. You stand at the threshold, the delicate doorway between doing and dreaming. In this fleeting, fragile moment, the curtain begins to fall. Your body already knows the script. Long before your conscious mind surrenders, your brain begins to dim the lights. Melatonin, the sleep hormone, spreads like dusk across a quiet field. Your core temperature drops, signaling your body it is time to rest. Your heart slows, your breath deepens, your muscles let go. Sleep doesn't arrive like a switch being flipped. It comes slowly, act by act, like a theater dimming its stage. Behind the curtain, the stage of your brain prepares for something extraordinary. You may think sleep is empty, a blankness. But inside your skull, sleep is anything but still. Your consciousness rests, yes, but your brain begins one of its busiest transformations. Imagine a stage after the final act. The audience has left, the curtain falls. Backstage, the crew begins to work. Sets are moved, lights are adjusted, scripts rewritten. The real magic of sleep begins where wakefulness ends. Now you drift into N1, the lightest stage of non-REM sleep. Your thoughts flicker. Vague images appear. Your body twitches softly. You may even hear your own name calling from far away. These are hypnagogic hallucinations, the ghostly echoes of wakefulness folding gently into dreams. Your brain waves slow from fast, alert beta to the relaxed alpha, then into the gentle sway of theta waves, each wave a tide, carrying you deeper into the sea of sleep. By the time you reach N2, the second stage of sleep, the doors begin to close. You're harder to wake, temperature drops a little more. Heartbeat slows, and something curious appears, sleep spindles and K-complexes, sudden, strange bursts of electricity like sparks in a dark forest. Scientists aren't fully certain why they exist, but they believe these bursts protect your sleep, shield memories, and perhaps even pave the way for dreams. Deeper still, you arrive at N3 slow-wave sleep. Rhythmic, calm delta waves pulse through your brain like vast, dark ocean waves, measured, endless, restorative. This is true physical restoration. Tissues repair, immune defenses strengthen, energy stores rebuild. If someone were to wake you now, grogginess would envelop you, heavy, disoriented. You've entered the deepest well of sleep. Your body has let go almost entirely. And quietly, invisibly, your mind prepares for something new, something stranger, vivid, electric, REM sleep. But for now, linger a little longer. In this gentle collapse of waking life, the mystery of beginnings, once thought passive, sleep is anything but. It is active, organized, rhythmic, a cycle with choreography of its own. One full night's journey moves through stages from light to deep to REM in 90-minute loops. Each loop builds on the last, each loop a quiet miracle of restoration and preparation. Each stage, each loop of your night, contributes quietly, almost invisibly, to your healing, your memory, your mind. And yet, despite centuries of study, despite the microscopes, electrodes and scans, no one can say with certainty why we sleep. We understand the machinery, we see what breaks when sleep is denied. But the purpose itself, the deep, evolutionary secret, still slips through our fingers. Perhaps that is part of the wonder. Sleep is necessity and mystery intertwined, a biological demand and a poetic surrender. Each night you willingly vanish from the world and awaken renewed. You, the thinker, the planner, the doer, let go. You place yourself in the hands of something older than thought, older than language itself. You fall asleep, and inside your skull the curtain rises on an entirely different world. But this is only the first breath, the first note. Sleep has many rooms, many depths. What unfolds next is the structure, the looping, rising, falling cycles, the quiet, intricate architecture holding your night. Let us step gently inside. Sleep is not one long, unbroken drift. It is a spiral, patterned, strange, mesmerizing. As you sink deeper under the covers, your body still, the brain begins to move in loops, diving, rising, circling, returning, through stages as distinct and deliberate as the tides. This is the choreography of sleep, a rhythm carved by evolution, honed over millions of nights. Even in slumber, your body follows a map. One complete cycle of sleep lasts roughly 90 minutes, descending from surface lightness to deep darkness, then rising again. And across a full night you will ride this spiral 4, 5, sometimes 6 times. The first part of each cycle begins gently, N1 and N2, the lighter stages. Here, your mind loosens its grip on waking life. Thoughts fragment, sounds blur. Your brain, once so busy with daily demands, softens its focus, letting the edges of consciousness fray just enough to begin dreaming. As the cycle deepens, you enter N3, deep sleep, the sanctuary of the body. Muscles relax completely, blood pressure drops. Hormones pulse in rhythm, repairing tissues, strengthening bones, healing the subtle wear of the day. Your brain hums at its slowest, most deliberate frequency. Delta waves roll through your cortex, vast, measured, like thunderclouds moving across a quiet sky. Not urgent, not sharp, but steady, commanding. Each wave whispers instructions to your body. Let go, repair, rebuild. Children linger here longest, their growing bodies soaking in restoration. As we age, this stage shortens, the scaffolding of sleep subtly shifting, a quiet reminder that the night shapes differently as life moves forward. Then, just as your body reaches stillness, something curious stirs. Your brain awakens anew, but not toward consciousness. It rises toward a vivid electric world. REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, a realm lit entirely by dreams. In REM, your brain mimics wakefulness in astonishing ways. Eyes flicker beneath closed lids, breathing becomes irregular, heart may race, as if running through a story you cannot yet name. But your muscles remain paralyzed by design, protective, ensuring the vivid mind does not act out the dream. This strange balance, vivid mind, still body, is what makes REM so extraordinary. And yet, like every stage of sleep, REM serves a purpose. Memory, mood, creativity. Your brain integrates the emotional tone of experience, not just facts but feelings woven through events. After REM, you may find it easier to recognize emotions in others, to navigate the subtle emotional weather of your own mind. So deep sleep repairs the body, REM tends the spirit. Two halves of night, two kinds of healing. A full cycle of sleep is not a descent and halt, it is a dance, a rise and fall. As one cycle closes, another begins. But not all cycles are identical. Sleep changes shape through the night. Early hours favor deep sleep, the body's mending stage. Later hours, closer to dawn, REM dominates, stretching dreams longer, stranger, more surreal. It is as though the night itself carries a story arc, beginning with silence, ending in poetry, with quiet cycles turning in between. You may not perceive them, yet they shape your rest, your thoughts, the texture of your mornings. Sleep spindles continue to appear in N2, brief flickers of brain activity, like fireflies in the dark. These bursts stand guard against awakening from a passing train, a draft of cold air, a shift in sound. They may also help learning, filing new memories gently into place. The brain is not offline during sleep. It curates, reorders, strengthens connections, lets go of what no longer serves. This inner architecture, this deep rhythm, is not unique to humans. Other mammals follow similar cycles. Dolphins sleep one hemisphere at a time, one half of the brain resting, the other alert. Birds nap briefly but frequently. Elephants sleep surprisingly little. Cats, masters of sleep, seemingly effortless. Across species, the rhythm persists, a choreography of rest, a metronome beating softly in the dark. And yet, this architecture can be fragile. When sleep is broken by stress, by screens, by pain, or by noise, the cycles of the night fracture, you might reach deep sleep less often. REM may be squeezed or delayed. You may still sleep, but not the kind that truly restores. Sleep efficiency, depth, continuity, these matter far more than hours alone. Even 8 hours of fractured sleep can leave you exhausted. A shorter, smooth spiral can feel infinitely more restorative. Modern life pulls at these cycles. Light pollution, irregular schedules, the glow of screens, all of it confuses the rhythm. Yet, the good news is that the structure can rebuild. Sleep is forgiving. Given time, your brain finds its rhythm again. Gentle habits help. Dark rooms, regular bedtimes, cool temperatures, winding down slowly, as you are doing now. Tonight, as you lie still, your body begins again its silent descent, stage by stage, loop by loop. You won't feel the transitions. You won't see the cycles. But they are there, beneath you, holding you steady, like water cradles a drifting boat. Every night you rebuild. Not just your body, but thought, memory, emotion. A self remade gently while you sleep. And as you spiral through the night, you will eventually arrive in a curious place, a place where the body lies still, but the mind begins to move in images. Flickering, story-like, unreal, yet deeply felt. Dreams. But what are these dreams? What strange work does the brain perform while you dream? Why do the stories born from silence feel so vividly alive? There comes a point in the night, perhaps hours after you drifted off, when something extraordinary begins inside your brain. Your breathing shifts, your pulse quickens, and though your body remains still, your eyes begin to move rapid, darting motions. Hidden behind closed lids, they trace invisible paths, as if following scenes only your mind can see. This is REM sleep, rapid eye movement. Unlike any other stage, REM is not the deepest sleep, yet it may be the most mysterious. It arrives in cycles, roughly every 90 minutes, and each loop stretches longer, like a dream unfolding across the night. You don't ease into REM the way you enter light sleep. You leap. Your brain, once slow and deep, bursts into activity. Waves of electricity surge across your cortex. In some ways, the brain looks almost awake. And yet, you are far from wakefulness. You are dreaming. Within this vivid landscape, the mind becomes a painter. Bound by neither physics nor memory, it creates scenes, emotions, entire worlds, sometimes surreal, sometimes familiar, always strange. Scientists believe most rich narrative dreams occur during REM, the dreams with movement, emotion, and story that carries you forward, even if the logic is incomplete. REM is a paradox. Your brain teems with color and activity, while your body remains almost entirely paralyzed. This paralysis, known as REM atonia, is not a flaw. It is a safeguard. Without it, your muscles might act out the dreams, running, fighting, or fleeing imaginary dangers. The body stills itself, a gentle cage for the dreaming mind. Only a few small muscles remain active. The eyes flicker beneath lids. The diaphragm keeps breathing gently flowing. Why do the eyes move? No one knows for certain. Perhaps they follow the imagined vision of dreams, a private theater for the mind. Perhaps the movements are byproducts of neural activity. Regardless, they move quick, rhythmic bursts, as if you alone can see what is unfolding. REM sleep influences more than dreams. It is tied closely to memory, especially emotional memory. Deep sleep repairs the body. REM helps you process feelings, integrate experiences, and soften the edges of emotion. Studies show that when REM cycles are repeatedly interrupted, people wake feeling anxious, irritable, emotionally raw. After uninterrupted REM, people read facial expressions more accurately, attune better to the feelings of others, and navigate social situations with greater ease. In REM, the brain rehearses for life: conflict, love, fear. It simulates, practices, and navigates emotional terrain, preparing you for waking challenges. Yet REM is not always gentle. Nightmares, the vivid and unsettling dreams, often occur during this stage. Even they may serve a purpose: emotional drills, practice runs, preparing you safely for danger so that real fear is less surprising during daylight hours. Children spend nearly half the night in REM. Their developing minds seem to require this mysterious workshop more than adults, constructing, exploring, and processing emotions as their brains grow. In adults, REM makes up roughly 20 to 25% of the night, enough for 4 or 5 distinct rounds of dreaming. Yet REM is fragile. It is sensitive to alcohol, stress, interruptions, or irregular sleep. When lost, it often rebounds. On recovery nights, your body prioritizes it, as if catching up on the stories missed. Certain medications suppress it, while others, like some antidepressants, alter its timing. Some neurological conditions can prevent REM paralysis, causing people to act out their dreams. But for most, REM arrives quietly, weaving its patterns across the night without fanfare. When you wake from a dream, those first groggy seconds when reality feels thin often mark the moment you were in REM. A face, a place, a fleeting feeling may linger briefly before dissolving, like breath on glass. Even if the memory fades, the work remains. The brain has stirred, filtered, and sorted. It has aired out the attic of the day. Dreams are not meaningless static. They are shaped by memory, stress, hope, and biology. They are stitched together by the same mind that worries, wonders, and loves in daylight. REM is their stage. It is a storm, electrical, invisible, internal, and yet somehow it leaves you calmer when it ends. There is much we still do not know. Why do we dream at all? Why do certain themes repeat: flying, falling, forgetting? Why does the brain wrap reality in metaphor while the body rests? One theory suggests that dreams are an internal training ground, a way for the brain to simulate future events, to test responses, to rehearse being alive. Others propose dreams are a byproduct of memory processing, vivid, chaotic, but ultimately a side effect. Meaning is elusive. Even if dreams are random, they are felt. And feelings shape who we are. Each night, the brain lights the stage again. You sleep, and inside you a world unfolds. Stories without authors, journeys without maps, storms of color and memory. Behind your still face, the eyes flicker. You cycle through these dream states many times before morning, each round slightly longer, diving deeper into the mind's kaleidoscope. Eventually, the images fade. The rhythm slows. Your brain quietly decides which fragments to file away and which to release. You float toward the surface of sleep, not fully awake, but not fully lost. In that liminal space, your dreaming mind begins a different kind of story, one made not of images but of feelings and fragments of memory. A dream begins with a spark. There is no script, no conscious author. Yet each night, your mind creates a story, a shifting narrative of shadows and color. Faces morph into other faces. Places that never existed feel familiar. You are the dreamer, the setting, the actor, the witness, and silently, the storyteller. The sleeping brain becomes a playwright of its own inner stage. To drift into unconsciousness and find yourself already in a scene is a curious wonder. Perhaps you are running barefoot, chased by something unseen, or speaking fluently in a language you never learned, or soaring effortlessly over a place that exists only in imagination. None of it makes logical sense, and yet, in that moment, it feels real. Why does the brain tell stories while we sleep? The answer is layered. One idea is that dreams help the brain make sense of itself, sorting memories, feelings, and experiences into patterns it can manage. During the day, you absorb countless impressions, snippets of conversation, fleeting sights, the weight of passing moods. Most fade from awareness, but nothing is truly lost. The sleeping brain is a keeper of fragments, pulling them from mental shelves, not always neatly, not always kindly, but with an instinct towards story. Think of the brain as a quilt maker. Each piece comes from a different hour, a different year. Your childhood bedroom stitched next to last Tuesday's meeting. A long-lost friend seated beside a stranger glimpsed in a crowd. Dreams follow a different logic than the day. They do not seek consistency, they do not care for time. They seek shape, meaning, or at least the semblance of it. The brain constructs a feeling, a memory and metaphor, a story that says this mattered, even if the reason remains hidden. In this way, dreaming can be a form of emotional processing. Untethered from waking constraints, the mind revisits what it was not ready to face, not with facts, but with images. Symbolic, strange, deeply personal. One night you may dream of drowning, yet the water may not be water. It may be grief, a rising tide of something unspoken. Another night you fly, yet the air is not air. It might be freedom, fear of falling, or something else entirely. Dreams do not give answers, they speak in mirrors. For centuries, humans have sought to interpret them. From ancient cultures to modern psychology, dreams have been seen as messages, guides, or windows into the mind. Today, science approaches them differently, observing networks, activity, and cycles. Yet even here, metaphor persists. Dreams light up parts of the brain tied to memory, emotion, and imagination. The amygdala, the hub of fear and feeling, glows brightly. The hippocampus, where memories root, adds its echoes. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, seat of logic and judgment, quiets. This is why your dream self accepts the impossible hallways that never end, childhood pets as your boss without question. The brain, partially awake in emotion and memory but dimmed in reasoning, allows the story to wander. This wandering has purpose. Some researchers propose that dreaming fosters creative recombination, connecting distant dots, solving problems in ways impossible in daylight. Sleep on it may be more than a saying. People who dream about a problem are more likely to find novel solutions later. Artists, inventors, and musicians often credit dreams for their greatest insights. The song that arrived in sleep, the invention glimpsed in a dream, the story that wrote itself behind closed eyes. In dreams, the mind has no editor, no critic, only quiet freedom to explore the unexplained. Not all dreams are grand. Some are mundane, going to work, making coffee, forgetting shoes. Even these may serve the brain, rehearsing routines, refining reactions, or performing mental housekeeping. Sorting, filtering, recombining these acts clear space and strengthen the memories that matter. Dreams are not entertainment, they are organization, internal authorship. Not planned, not perfect, but necessary. Much remains unknown. Why do some remember dreams vividly while others forget them instantly? Why do certain themes repeat: falling, being late, losing teeth? Why do dreams return over years, shifting subtly like old songs in a new key? We may never have complete answers. Perhaps that is the point. Dreams resist simple meaning. They are born from something deeper, meant to be witnessed, not solved. Tonight, as you sleep, your mind will tell a story. You may not remember it, or a fragment may linger, a thread of color weaving through your morning thoughts. Either way, your brain is speaking to itself not in words, but in story. A quiet act of self-making behind the veil of rest. As the curtain of night falls and dreams begin to form, a new question arises. Which memories will the dreaming brain keep, and which will slip gently away? Each day adds more. Small memories, like the taste of breakfast. Larger ones, like the weight of a decision. Moments stack, layers of thought and sensation. Your brain is not a warehouse, it is a garden. Sleep is when the tending begins. While you rest, your brain nurtures thoughts like a quiet caretaker at dusk, watering some roots, letting others wither back into the soil. Forgetting is not failure, it is part of remembering. This begins early in the night during deep N3 sleep. The brain replays the day's patterns not as a video but as whispers. Neurons that fired together while learning a face, a fact, a feeling, now fire quietly, strengthening connections. This is memory consolidation, the transfer of memories from fragile short-term storage into more stable, lasting networks. Think of it like this. When you experience something new, your brain scribbles it in a notepad. It is fragile, easily erased. During sleep, the brain reviews these notes, deciding which to preserve, which to discard, and which to rearrange meaningfully, if not perfectly. This work largely occurs in the hippocampus, a curved structure deep in the brain, named for its resemblance to a seahorse. It acts as a courier, shuttling short-term memories to the cortex for long-term storage. But the hippocampus does not act alone. Each sleep stage has its role. In deep sleep, slow waves act as a metronome, guiding neuronal firing and orchestrating memory transfer. In REM, the scene changes. Now the brain begins to integrate memories emotionally. Sleep does more than preserve facts. It weaves them into your personal story. Imagine you had an argument today. During REM, your brain may strip away the heat of the moment but retain the lesson, the feeling, the insight. You wake up not remembering the dream, yet still feeling different, softer, clearer, as if something has been quietly resolved while you slept. This blending of structure and emotion is what makes sleep essential for learning. Students who rest after studying retain more than those who remain awake. Even short naps, if they include deep or REM sleep, help lock in new skills. Sleep is not just about memory, it is about understanding, connecting what you learned to why it matters. The gardeners of sleep continue their work. Not all memories are welcome guests. Some are pruned for peace. Others are reinforced to shape identity. Some are left behind, fading gently. This is called synaptic downscaling, a careful trimming of unnecessary or weak connections. Without it, the brain would overflow, every detail clamoring for attention. Sleep provides focus. It creates space. Like a gardener who knows not every seed must bloom, your brain lets go of what is not needed. Which memories remain is not always predictable. Sometimes something small stays the scent of rain, a line from a book, a stranger's smile while something large disappears, a number, a name, or the exact words you meant to say. There is wisdom in this forgetting. Memory is not a recording, it is a narrative, continually edited, revised each night. In this nightly editing, you become more you. Some scientists link this process to dreaming. Dreams offer glimpses into the sorting, filing and deciding. You might dream of a school you haven't visited in years. Perhaps your brain is weaving new insight or emotion from old threads. You awaken not just rested but reorganized. In trauma, this process can falter. Memories that are too sharp or tangled resist sleep's soft editing. In conditions like PTSD, REM may fail to ease the emotional charge. Dreams repeat, memories burn. Yet even here, sleep retains healing power. Therapies that restore REM often help soothe emotional pain, making the night safer once more. Tonight, as you lie still, know this. Your mind is tending itself. It brushes dust from some thoughts, gently covers others. It decides which parts of today become part of tomorrow. And though you never see it happen, the pruning, the nurturing, the rewiring, all of it leaves an effect. You are not just resting, you are becoming. Not all memories endure, but the ones that do are part of your garden, a quiet archive of who you are becoming. Tomorrow you may forget your dreams, yet deep in your brain something has shifted. That alone is enough. You do not need to remember everything, only what matters. And sleep, graceful, ancient, silent sleep, knows how to chew. As the final spindles flicker and the night rises again on the horizon, another mystery awaits. Lucid dreaming. You are dreaming, walking down a hallway that never ends. The walls are glass, a breeze stirs from nowhere, you see a door that wasn't there before. And suddenly, something shifts. You know you are asleep. This world is not real, yet you are still inside it. A lucid dream is a rare state of awareness, where the dreamer becomes both actor and observer. You are still sleeping, but something within has awakened. Your brain, usually adrift in REM's vivid theatre, lights up with self-recognition. You realize it is a dream, and with that awareness the dream becomes yours to shape. Not everyone experiences lucid dreaming. Some touch it briefly, others train to enter it frequently, turning each night into a private voyage. Lucid dreaming sits at the edge of paradox, where wakefulness brushes against dreaming without destroying it. It requires something unusual, conscious noticing of the dream's illogic, while remaining relaxed enough not to wake. Scientists call this metacognition, the ability to reflect on one's own thinking. Normally during REM, this function rests. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for logic and self-awareness, stays quiet while the rest of the brain dances. In lucid dreams, this region flickers awake. Imaging studies show that the dorsal prefrontal cortex, silent in typical REM, reignites just enough to give that strange, shimmering clarity. And with this light comes possibility. Some lucid dreamers simply observe, drifting like ghosts in their own memories. Others engage walking through walls, flying above forests, speaking with dream figures, visiting loved ones long gone, or simply sitting, feeling the rare, profound sensation of knowing and dreaming simultaneously. It may sound like fantasy, yet lucid dreaming is a well-documented phenomenon. Humans have studied it for centuries. Tibetan Buddhists called it dream yoga, a practice of using lucid dreams to develop insight, control, and even compassion. In the 1,970 seconds, sleep researchers began proving it scientifically. Dreamers trained to become lucid would signal from within REM sleep by moving their eyes in prearranged patterns, left, right, confirming awareness without waking. Inside brain scanners, activity glowed. Lucid dreaming was no longer anecdote, it was real, measurable, mapeable. What can lucid dreams teach us? They offer a unique way to explore the mind's inner architecture. You are not just watching dreams, you move through them with intention. In waking life, fears and desires are constrained by reality. In dreams, those constraints dissolve. You can face what frightens you without danger, rehearse decisions, practice skills, or wander freely across the surreal terrain of your imagination. Therapists sometimes use lucid dreaming to help people with recurring nightmares. By learning to recognize the dream and shape its course, the dreamer reclaims agency within the story. But lucid dreaming is delicate. Push too hard, and you wake. Control too much, and the dream collapses. It is a balance, a dance between surrender and direction. Not every lucid dream is peaceful. Awareness can invite fear. Realizing you are dreaming can be disorienting, even terrifying, especially if the dream turns dark. Yet even these experiences are instructive. They reveal something fundamental. You are not merely a passenger in your inner world. At times, you are the navigator. Can anyone learn to lucid dream? Some people seem naturally inclined, having spontaneous lucid dreams from childhood. Others must practice. Technique existe mental exercice, sleep schedule, journaling, reality checks. Before bed, you might repeat, "Tonight I will know I'm dreaming." During the day, you might look at your hands. Ask yourself if you are awake. Train your mind to question reality. The habit may carry into dreams. One night you find yourself in a strange room. The clock shifts when you blink. Light bends oddly. You realize it is not real, this is a dream. The moment may be brief. The dream may shift instantly, yet that instant remains. Waking up inside your own mind is powerful. It blurs the line between thought and experience, between imagination and presence. Even after it ends, the feeling may linger a strange clarity, like glimpsing yourself from a new angle. Lucid dreaming is not superior to ordinary dreaming. Both serve their purpose and retain mystery. But lucidity offers a rare window, a chance to witness the dreaming mind at work and recognize yourself within it. In that space, you may encounter parts of yourself forgotten, curious, brave, or quietly observing. Lucid dreaming cannot be forced. It arrives like a shift in the wind, a moment of stillness within motion. When it comes, it reminds you that even in sleep, some small part of you remains curious, still watching from beneath closed eyes. As the dream fades and lucidity gives way to ordinary sleep, you return to the quiet stream of night, less aware but no less full of story. Not all dreams are lucid, and not all need to be. Many drift past unrecognized, shaped not by will but by memory, emotion, something deeper than thought. And sometimes those dreams turn dark. Shadows grow long, fear takes form. You may run without moving, fall endlessly, shout without sound. The setting may be strange, a burning house, a twisting hallway, a face you cannot forget. But the feeling is familiar, fear. A nightmare is a dream touched by fire. It sears instead of soothes, yet it may serve a purpose. You are not broken when you dream of fear. You are not cursed. You are human. Even in sleep, your brain is helping you survive. Nightmares are natural, experienced by almost everyone. In children, they appear frequently, born from newness, uncertainty, growing minds. In adults, they often follow stress, trauma, or emotional shifts. Nightmares emerge in REM sleep, when dreams are vivid and the brain's emotional centers burn brightly. During REM, the amygdala, the region tied to fear and arousal, is highly active, even more than when awake. This is no accident. REM sleep is the brain's theater for emotional processing. Fear is one of the loudest actors in dreams, yet fear in dreams isn't always negative. Some scientists propose that nightmares serve a protective role, a concept called the threat simulation theory. Nightmares act like emotional flight simulators. They allow your brain to rehearse responses to danger in a safe, controlled environment. You are chased, but no one catches you. You fall, but wake before hitting the ground. You lose someone, but return whole. These simulations may help fine-tune reactions, sharpen instincts, and build emotional resilience. Of course, not every nightmare feels helpful. Some leave you shaken. You wake with a racing heart, a film of sweat on your skin, the dream clinging like mist to your thoughts. The fear is real, but it passes. And often, what remains is not just terror, but insight. Nightmares are symbolic. The brain speaks in metaphor, layering recent stressors onto deeper emotional themes. You may not dream of the event that hurt you. Instead, your mind dresses it in something strange, a storm, a broken bridge, a shadow. This is how the brain processes complexity. It does not offer a direct transcript. It paints. Sometimes the brush strokes are intense, and nightmares can become chronic or recurring, especially in conditions like post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. In PTSD, the brain's natural dreaming process can get stuck. Emotional intensity fails to soften, and the same nightmare repeats night after night. REM sleep becomes less about healing and more about reliving. Yet even here, there is hope. Therapies exist to work gently with the dream, helping the dreamer rewrite endings or shift the narrative. One method, imagery rehearsal therapy, has the dreamer record the nightmare and then imagine it with a safer outcome. Over time, the brain softens the old pattern, the fear recedes and sleep becomes safer again. For others, nightmares are rare but powerful. They may appear after stress, illness, or unsettling experiences. The brain is sensitive. It responds to what you feed it. Nightmares ask for attention, not panic or avoidance, but gentle noticing. What might this dream be trying to show? What fear wants to be witnessed? Even if answers do not come, the act of wondering matters. Curiosity alone is transformative. The dream does not control you. You always return. Morning always comes. Nightmares are intense, yes, but they are only one part of the dreaming spectrum. Often they signal that the mind is actively working to make sense of what it cannot yet name. There are ways to reduce their intensity: stable sleep routines, calming bedtime rituals, avoiding caffeine or alcohol, minimizing late-night stimulation, journaling, or mindfulness exercises. These habits create a sense of safety, signaling to the brain that rest is possible. When nightmares come, they can be greeted differently, not as enemies, but as messengers. Sometimes the message is muddled, sometimes clear. Either way, it passes. After fear, the brain seeks balance. Following a nightmare, gentler dreams may appear, or deep dreamless sleep may settle in, offering peace, a reset. Across cultures, nightmares are sometimes seen as visitors carrying warnings, insights, or guidance opportunities to release emotion, confront shadows, and heal. Whether biology, metaphor, or both, nightmares are part of sleep, not flaws. Even in darkness, you remain wrapped in the protective rhythm of the night. Your body rests, your brain works. You are still becoming. If a nightmare comes, remember, it cannot break you. It is a passing shape, a fleeting pattern in the mind's starscape. Beyond it, the next dream arrives, the next breath, the next sleep cycle. Sleep carries on, like the tide, shifting from fear into the softness of growth. How does the dreaming mind change as the brain develops? What do children dream of, and how do dreams evolve with age? You were dreaming long before you had words, before walking, before knowing your name. Infants spend roughly half their sleep in REM, more than at any other time in life. That quiet, stormy stage of rapid eye movement holds them each night in an unseen, unfolding world. Infants do not dream as we do, with characters, plots, or symbolic echoes. Their minds are still gathering fragments, learning what the world, even island, yet something stirs behind those fluttering lids. Perhaps not stories, but sensations, color, motion, sound, the earliest drafts of a dreaming self. Sleep is the canvas on which the growing brain sketches its future. In the first months of life, REM sleep is the brush used most. As a child grows, so too does their dreaming brain. REM sleep gradually decreases. By age 5, it settles to roughly 25% of total sleep, a balance that will remain through most of life. Dreams begin to take shape. Young children's dreams are short, simple, often centered on animals, movement, and familiar places. They are usually observers, not yet the central figure. The dream flows around them like a stream they are just learning to step into. As language develops, so does dream complexity. Stories lengthen, characters multiply, emotion takes root. By 7 or 8, children's dreams resemble adult structure, though not always in tone. Children's dreams are often magical, untethered from logic. A cat may speak, the sky may turn to jelly, rules bend under imagination's light. This is not distortion, it is development. The boundaries between real and imagined remain soft and porous. Adolescence brings change. The dreamer becomes more central, more active. Emotions deepen, themes grow complex. Teenagers often dream of identity, social navigation, and emotional risk. Nightmares may increase, reflecting hormonal shifts and new awareness. Sleep schedules shift too. Adolescents fall asleep later, wake later. Circadian rhythms stretch, pulling sleep toward the edges of night. School schedules rarely accommodate this, and many teens experience sleep debt, missing the REM-rich hours of early morning. With less REM, dreams, or at least remembered dreams, may decline. Dream recall varies by age, culture, habit, and attention. Children encouraged to share dreams often remember more. Journaling, questions, or slow waking create a bridge between night and day. This bridge matters because dreams are not mere curiosities. They reflect the mind in motion, revealing what a child fears, loves, or questions. For children who cannot yet explain, dreams serve as a voice, a metaphor made of sleep. Parents often worry about dark or impossible dreams, but most are normal, part of emotional housekeeping. Children, like adults, dream to process, simulate, and release. Just as their bodies stretch silently in the dark, their minds stretch too. Dreams are practice for empathy, problem-solving, for being. Researchers suggest that children dream more vividly because their neural networks are fresh, flexible, and richly connected. As we age, pathways become more efficient, yet more rigid. Adult dreams may narrow, becoming less fantastical, more grounded not from fading imagination, but because the brain becomes specialized, streamlined. Childhood is closest to the root of dreaming, untethered by reason, unboxed by logic. Dreams are wild metaphors, impossible joys, and fears that feel enormous and unnameable. Most of us remember only fragments: floating, a rain-filled hallway, a talking bear with a sibling's voice. Yet, remembered or not, these dreams shaped us. They taught the brain to rehearse, represent emotion, and wander safely within itself. Childhood dreaming also fosters a sense of self. A child wakes and realizes, "That was me, but not me. That was my world, but not quite." In this gentle confusion, the brain builds boundaries between self and other, reality and possibility. Lucid dreams often emerge naturally before skepticism takes hold. A child may simply know they are dreaming and choose to fly without question. As the mind matures, dreaming becomes reflective but perhaps less free. Still, the roots remain. Each adult dream rests on the scaffolding laid in childhood. Even now, the brain follows the same rhythms learned then, REM woven through the night like silver thread. When you dream of being small again, you may not just be remembering you are returning. Dreams do not age as we do. They remain timeless, suspended in the stillness of sleep. Though their tone may change, their function remains constant. Dreams accompany you through infancy, adolescence, and into aging, not as distractions, but as companions on the journey of becoming. Tonight, as you lie down, you may dream in simple images, not as a child, but with the wonder of one. Tomorrow, you might not remember a thing, or you may awaken with a flicker, a feeling, a trace of the long, quiet arc that links your earliest dreams to those you will have tonight. Yet, even as dreams grow and evolve, so many vanish by morning. Why do we forget so much? And what determines which dreams linger and which dissolve? You wake with a feeling, an image, a flicker of color, a hallway without end. A face you have never seen yet somehow recognize. You reach for it, but it slips away. By breakfast, even the impression may be gone. You dream every night, perhaps 4, 5, 6 times, yet remember so little. This forgetting is not failure. It is part of the brain's design. The mind generates vast, surreal, emotionally layered worlds each night, but not all of it is meant to be kept. Some dreams are echoes of emotion. Others are fragments of memory, idle sketches of the mind. Dreaming is necessary, but remembering every detail is not. Memory works differently while awake and asleep. When awake, new memories form through encoding. The brain receives sensory input, labels it, and links it to existing networks. Attention and emotion play central roles, and much of this relies on the hippocampus, essential for lasting memory. During REM sleep, when most dreams occur, the hippocampus is quieter. The brain is busy elsewhere. Emotion centers like the amygdala are active, visual regions glow, but systems for long-term storage are not fully online. Dreams feel real, yet they are not tagged and filed like waking experience. Memories remain soft, unstable, dissolving upon contact with consciousness. This is why we often remember a dream only if we wake during or immediately after it, and even then, rehearsal is necessary to retain it. Speak it aloud, write it down, or think deliberately, or it fades as designed. Why would evolution make us forget something so intricate? One reason is efficiency. We already carry an immense load of sensory input. The brain cannot store everything. Dreams may be emotionally useful, but not all require recall. Another reason is protection. Dreams follow no rules, they merge faces, create impossible scenes, revisit painful moments. Storing them like waking memories could blur reality and imagination. The brain draws a boundary. What happens in a dream usually stays there unless it is truly significant. Sometimes dreams do persist. Those that stir strong emotion, fear, love, longing are more likely to remain. Novelty can also make a dream memorable. A dream that breaks patterns may be flagged for attention. Lucid dreams are remembered more clearly, not just because they are unusual, but because conscious awareness during sleep helps encode them. Most nights, however, you wake with only wisps, a vague scene, a fleeting name, a fragment that slips away, and that is perfectly normal. Dreaming is not a memory contest. The brain is doing vital work, even if details fade. If you wish to remember more, you can gently train your mind. Dream journaling is powerful. Keep a notebook by your bed and write down whatever you recall upon waking, even a feeling or a single word. Over time, recall may sharpen. Techniques like waking briefly before returning to sleep, intending to dream, can increase awareness and retention. Reality checks during the day asking, "Am I dreaming?" can carry into dreams, boosting lucidity and memory. But none of this is required. Forgetting is part of the rhythm. The brain retains what it needs. The rest dissolves. It lets go, creating space for what matters, leaving behind only what the mind is ready to carry forward. Think of dreams like messages written in the sand at low tide, meant to be read but also meant to wash away. The ocean does not apologize for the tide. Some dreams vanish, yet leave a subtle shift in feeling calmer, clearer, or perhaps unsettled but somehow different. That is the true memory, not the scene itself but the change it leaves behind. Some cultures honor dreams through storytelling. Others interpret forgetting as a sign that the message was for the spirit, not the conscious mind. Science offers one view, mystery another. There is room for both. Remember, dreams, whether recalled or not, are part of you, a quiet pulse beneath waking life. They work in the background, shaping emotion, reordering memory, tending the soil of the self. Tonight, when a dream comes, welcome it. Recall it or not, trust that your mind is sifting, selecting, balancing. And when morning arrives, do not be discouraged if the dream is gone. Its presence may remain even if its image fades. Having wandered through memory and forgetting, we can now turn to the luminous side, the tools that allow us to glimpse dreaming in motion, not through feelings, but through science. What happens when we place the sleeping brain under observation? What do we see when we look inside the dream? There was a time when dreams could only be guessed at, spoken in whispers, written in journals, or captured in myth. Now, the dreaming mind is studied with machines. Sleep labs are quiet, dim rooms. Wires trail from the scalp, monitors glow softly. The sleeper lies still. Outside the room, the world fades, and researchers wait. In these spaces, the brain becomes visible. Not the exact dream, its images or storylines, but the light it casts upon the brain. Tools like EEG measure the rhythm of brain waves, slow waves, spindles, bursts of REM, a subtle music beneath the skin. Functional MRI, fMRI, maps blood flow across regions as different areas activate. The results are astonishing. During REM sleep, the visual areas in the occipital lobe glow as if the eyes were open, even though they are not. The limbic system, processing emotion, ignites, especially the amygdala, seat of fear, memory, and meaning. Even the motor cortex activates, simulating movement while the body remains frozen by REM atonia. It is a simulation that feels real. Meanwhile, regions linked to rational thought, like the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, dim. Dreams often defy logic: why you can fly, why hallways twist into forests and you do not question it. The dreaming brain is creative, less critical. It builds, rarely edits, running on emotion, sensation, and fragments of memory drawn from deep shelves. In recent years, science has begun decoding dreams, not fully, but in glimpses. In one study, participants napped in an fMRI scanner. When they entered REM sleep, researchers gently woke them and asked what they saw. They described faces, shapes, movement. Scientists matched these reports to brain patterns, predicting dream content based on real-time neural activity. The fusiform face area lit up with faces, the parahippocampal place area glowed for locations. It was not perfect, we cannot yet watch someone's dream like a movie, but it shows where a dream begins to form. Other studies applied machine learning to match brain scans with visual input, then applied the models to dreams. The results are blurry. Shadows, coded reconstructions, yet even shadows are instructive. Dreams are not formless. They follow patterns, leaving trails we are learning to read. Science is interested not only in content, but in purpose. Why does the brain expend so much energy in sleep, a state meant for rest? Why vivid simulations, surreal narratives, and emotional intensity? One idea is memory consolidation. Dreams reflect replaying, restructuring, and integrating new memories. Another is emotion regulation. Dreams help us process feelings so we can awaken lighter. Some propose dreams act as overnight therapy, undoing what waking life could not. The activation synthesis model suggests dreams emerge as stories from random neural bursts. More recent models see dreams as purposeful simulations, predictive coding, preparing us for tomorrow. And as machines grow more sensitive, we continue to test these theories, peering ever deeper into the machinery of the dreaming mind. We map the nighttime mind, watching it unfold frame by frame, region by region. Yet even with all our senses, limits remain. We cannot feel what the dreamer feels. We cannot know what the color red meant in their sleep, why the door would not open, or why the ocean rose at that moment. Dreams are built from personal code, a language only the dreamer speaks. Science gives us a map, but not the meaning. It shows which roads are lit, but not why we choose them. And perhaps that is how it should be. The mystery has always been part of the dream. Still, the act of observing, the simple wonder of seeing the brain dream, is a marvel. It reminds us that the sleeping mind is never idle. It is alive, glowing, flickering with ancient fire. As you sleep, you are not simply off. You are on in a different way, moving inward instead of outward. And now, with machines and curious minds, we begin to witness that movement, glimpsing the luminous terrain of the inner world. Even as science observes the brain at rest, there are layers it cannot measure, depths it cannot reach. Dreams are not just activity, they are experience. Some of that experience rises from emotion, from longing, from hope, from fear, remembered in the body. So what do dreams really mean? Are they sparks and circuits, or fragments of the self spoken in metaphor? To answer, we must turn inward, toward the symbols that appear again and again, the feelings that linger after waking, the strange silent riddles the dream leaves behind. Science can show us how we dream, but the deeper meaning resides in the shadows. A dream does not speak plainly. It does not say, "You are afraid." It shows a storm. It does not say, "You miss someone." It places them in a hallway that loops forever. Dreams speak in images, symbolic, strange, layered with meanings not always clear. And so we ask, softly as we wake, what did that mean? The dream fades, but the question lingers. Throughout history, humans have looked to dreams for signs, to predict the future, to make sense of the past, to listen to what the waking mind cannot yet say. The ancient Egyptians kept dream books, cataloging symbols with interpretations. The Greeks saw dreams as messages from the gods, guiding seekers in temples of healing. In epics, myths, and sacred texts, dreams appear as visions strange, serious, and meaningful. In more recent history, figures like Freud approached dreams scientifically. He saw them as the royal road to the unconscious, where hidden wishes and repressed desires surfaced, disguised, symbolic. Every staircase, every stranger, every locked door was a metaphor for something buried. By decoding dreams, he believed we could understand the hidden architecture of the self. Carl Jung shared this fascination, but with a broader lens. He proposed the collective unconscious, a shared human well of symbols and archetypes appearing across cultures and time. To Jung, dreams were mirrors of the soul's journey, not only repression, but integration, becoming whole. Recurring themes, falling, flying, losing teeth, being chased, were not quirks, but signals from deeper waters. Modern neuroscience offers a more skeptical view. Some researchers argue that dreams are not coded messages, but the brain making sense of random neural activity. The activation synthesis theory suggests dreams are like static. The brain, always seeking pattern, weaves a story from the noise. Symbols in this view are fragments, images without inherent meaning. So, who is right? Is a dream of flying a metaphor for freedom, or simply the brain simulating motion through the motor cortex? Is the locked door a symbol of fear, or a leftover from yesterday's puzzle? Perhaps both. Even if dreams arise from random sparks, how we interpret them matters. The meaning we assign can reveal something true, even if the dream itself was not trying to say it. Dreams may be less like riddles with fixed answers and more like mirrors. What you see reflects what you carry. One person dreaming of flying may long to escape. Another may celebrate newfound freedom. A third might simply have gone paragliding yesterday. Context matters. Perhaps the question is not, what does this dream mean? But, why does this image stay with me? Symbolism in dreams may not be universal, but patterns do emerge. Studies show that people across the world share certain dream themes. Falling, being chased, arriving late, being unprepared, teeth crumbling. These patterns may be shaped by common emotions. Anxiety, fear of failure, fear of losing control. Your brain uses images it knows to express what words cannot yet say. It borrows from memory, from emotion, from things long forgotten, and arranges them into something strange, vivid, a language of feeling that does not need to follow the rules of waking life. Consider a dream of losing your voice. You try to speak, but no sound comes. Is it a memory of being silenced? A fear of being misunderstood? A reflection of helplessness? Or a dream of being underwater, not drowning, but held just beneath the surface? What does the water mean? Emotion, the subconscious, a longing to dive inward. Or stress, a sense of being overwhelmed? Perhaps both. Dreams can hold multiple meanings at once. This is the beauty of the symbolic mind. It layers. It does not choose. Even if the dream arises from randomness, you, the dreamer, bring meaning to it. Interpretation becomes a conversation between the dream and the self. How do you listen? Not with analysis alone, but with attention. You do not need a dictionary of symbols. You need a quiet space to reflect. Ask, what was I feeling in the dream? When have I felt that before? What part of myself was speaking through that image? Not every dream will offer an answer. Some are fog, some silly, some forgotten, but some cling for a reason. Even if their meaning changes over time, the act of noticing deepens understanding of the self. Your dreaming mind is not trying to confuse you. It is representing complexity without the limits of logic. It holds contradiction, grief and joy, fear and hope, memory and imagination, not with words, but with images. When certain images return again and again, they may be part of something you are still learning to face. Tonight, if something strange rises, a blue fox, a frozen clock, a stairway that leads into the sky, pause. Do not rush to decode. Ask instead, what part of me is speaking here? Let the symbol do its work. Dreams are not puzzles to be solved. They are conversations to be held with patience, gentleness, and curiosity. Sometimes dreams carry not just symbols, but healing. In the night's quiet cinema, your brain may not only reflect emotion, but soothe it. Dreams might not just show how you feel. They may help you begin to feel better. They are metaphoric medicine. Each night, as your body sinks into stillness, your mind quietly returns to what was left unfinished, the ache that lingered, the worry unspoken, the moments you did not know how to hold. This work is subtle. You may not always feel it, but in the drifting hours, your dreaming brain becomes both memory keeper and healer. Science once thought dreams were chaos, leftovers of waking thought, meaningless static. Now we know better. Dreams are not waste, they are processing. During REM sleep, the brain revisits emotional experiences, reactivates the amygdala, stirring feelings again but softened, held at a safe distance. No deadlines, no decisions, just the image, the feeling, the chance to reprocess. REM is like rehearsal. You relive the feeling, but gently, safely learning from it. A difficult conversation may leave you raw one day, but calmer the next after sleep has done its work. In dreams, the edges of pain round, fear softens, grief breathes, anger finds its shape. This is not forgetting, this is integration. Some researchers call this the overnight therapy effect. The brain replays emotions not to torment, but to make sense of them, to digest what was too complex, too tangled, too fresh to handle while awake. And you do not need to remember the dream for the healing to occur. The process is biological. Sleep itself acts as an emotional regulator. Brain scans show reduced norepinephrine, a stress chemical usually heightened when awake, creating a calm space where emotional memories can be revisited without triggering full distress. It is like watching a storm from behind glass. You feel its presence, but you are not in danger. This allows the mind to re-experience difficult emotions safely, learning from pain rather than carrying it. Dreams also play a role in extinction, learning the process of weakening the link between a trigger and a fear response. When you were frightened during the day, that fear memory is encoded. But in sleep, particularly in REM, your brain begins to reshape the association. It says, "You felt fear, but you survived." It practices new emotional pathways that whisper, "You're safe now." Gradually, fear loosens its grip. Not all dreams are comforting. Some revisit the very thing that hurt. Yet even nightmares can serve healing. They may represent emotions too large for daylight. In dreams, those feelings find forms symbolic, surreal, but no less real. Sometimes, the act of dreaming is the release. Tears stay inside the dream. Your voice is found. The thing you feared is faced in metaphor, in shadow, in safety. Even confusing dreams carry emotional threads. A strange room, a sudden silence, a door you cannot open, your waking mind may not understand, but your emotional self recognizes the shape. In therapy, clients often bring dreams not for answers, but for reflection. Dreams can express what the conscious self avoids. A sorrow not yet named, a hope too fragile to admit, a decision waiting quietly in the dark. Dreams become a language of healing not in logic, but in resonance. Across cultures, this power has long been honored. In some indigenous traditions, dreams are seen as messages from ancestors, spirit, or the deep self. They are consulted during rites of passage, used in conflict resolution, held with reverence, not just stories but guidance. Science may speak differently, yet even it observes the effect. After a rich dream, you may wake lighter, not because the problem is gone, but because something inside has shifted. The burden was named, reimagined, or simply witnessed by the deeper self. That witnessing, even without conscious awareness, is powerful. You are not passive in sleep. Your brain is working, soothing, stitching frayed pieces into something whole. When you wake, you carry that subtle change. It may feel like clarity, calm, or just the quiet absence of what was before. You are being repaired from the inside out, night by night, layer by layer. But what about grief? Heartbreak, trauma, loss? These too pass through the dream. People often dream of those they have lost, a conversation that never happened, a hug more real than memory, a word unspoken finally voiced. These dreams do not replace reality, but they give the grieving mind space to rehearse acceptance, to hold and release at once. In time, they may bring comfort. The dream may not return, but the peace it offered can echo long after. So tonight, as you close your eyes, know this: your dreaming mind is a rough physician. It works without prescription, without instruction, but with purpose. It listens to what you carried today, the stress, the joy, the confusion, and begins in its quiet way to untangle it. Whether or not you remember, your brain is healing through story, through sensation, through emotional rehearsal. Dreams are not distractions, they are medicine. They are poems stitched into biology. When you dream tonight, you may meet a part of yourself that you did not know needed, tending a wordless part, an old hurt, a stalled joy rising again. Let it speak. Let it shape its strange story in the silence of sleep, and then let it go. You will wake changed slightly, softly, a little more whole. Sometimes, though, dreams do not come, or they vanish, or sleep itself turns restless. What happens when the rhythm is broken? When dreams are missing or arrive in ways we cannot understand? Not every night is smooth. Some nights stretch long and silent, but not in a restful way. You turn, shift, sigh. Sleep dances just out of reach. Or maybe it comes shallow, scattered, restless. You wake not refreshed, but dulled, foggy, half-anchored. And sometimes the dreams simply vanish. Blank space. No story, no color, no trace. Dream loss does not always mean something is wrong. It may mean you were not awake at the right moment to catch them, or your brain decided not to store them. Yet sometimes absence signals more. When sleep is disrupted, so are dreams. Conditions like insomnia, sleep apnea, narcolepsy, and REM behavior disorder affect the architecture of sleep, the natural cycling of stages that includes dreaming. When those stages shift, the dreaming mind stumbles. Take insomnia. It is more than difficulty falling asleep. It can mean staying awake, waking too early, sleeping lightly, hovering on the edge of rest. In this state, your body may never reach the deeper stages where dreaming is most vivid. Dreams may still occur, but fractured, shallow, hard to hold. Over time, this deprivation affects more than memory. It touches emotion, attention, resilience. Sleep is not just rest, it is regulation, and dreams, though often forgotten, play a part in that balance. Then there is sleep apnea, a condition where breathing stops repeatedly through the night. Each pause nudges the sleeper toward wakefulness, often without full awareness. This disruption fragments the sleep cycle. You may never complete a full REM phase, and without REM, dreams can become scarce, feel repetitive, unsettling, or incomplete. People with untreated apnea often report fewer dreams. When treatment begins, such as with a CPAP machine, REM rebounds and dreams return, sometimes in a rush, as if the mind is catching up on lost stories. Narcolepsy is another condition, rare but profound, where the boundaries between sleep and wake blur. Dreams may arrive suddenly, even during moments of full alertness. Hallucinations, sleep paralysis, daytime dreams. REM floods the brain at unexpected times, and the sleeper becomes a passenger in a landscape with no clear borders. For some, these dreams are vivid and strange. For others, disorienting. In REM behavior disorder, the body forgets to stay still. Muscle paralysis that normally keeps you from acting out dreams fails. You may move, talk, even strike out without knowing it. This can be dangerous, not only for the sleeper but for partners. REM behavior disorder can also be an early sign of neurodegenerative conditions like Parkinson's disease. Here, the dreaming brain reveals not just sleep trouble but deeper changes in the nervous system. Even without a formal disorder, modern life often frays the edges of sleep. Blue light, late meals, scrolling into the night, stress carried into bed like a stone on the chest, these quiet habits chip away at the structure of sleep, and with it, dreams. We live in a world that undervalues rest, where sleep is often seen as optional, a luxury, a weakness. Yet your brain knows better. It longs for rhythm, darkness, slowness, and when it doesn't receive these things, it protects what it can, sacrificing the rest. Dream loss can also occur during grief, depression, or burnout. Sometimes the dreaming mind goes quiet because the weight is too much. The circuits involved in REM can be dampened by certain antidepressants or by neurochemical changes brought on by emotional distress. It is as if the mind says, "Not now, let's keep the world dim." Yet even here, dreams may stir deep beneath awareness. Sometimes dream absence is temporary. Sleep improves, stress lifts, and dreams return like birds returning to a tree after a storm. Sometimes they return in waves, intensely vivid, as if the mind is catching up on emotional work it had postponed. This is called REM, rebound, the body's way of restoring balance after REM deprivation. Dreaming is not optional. The brain, when allowed, will always return to it. But what if you rarely remember your dreams and do not feel unrested? That is okay too. Some people sleep deeply and dreamfully, yet rarely recall the details. This does not mean they are not dreaming. It only means the memories do not bridge the gap into waking life. Recall is personal, and not every bridge is built the same. Still, if you wish to invite dreams back, gentle practices can help. Create a bedtime ritual. Darken the room. Avoid screens in the hour before sleep. Journal, even just a sentence. In the morning, lie still before reaching for your phone, before the day rushes in. Notice what lingers. Perhaps a feeling, a phrase, a color, a shape. Over time, the mind may begin to whisper again. Even dreamless nights hold purpose. Your body is still resting, your mind is still healing. Sometimes the silence itself is a kind of medicine. Sleep is not only about dreaming, it is about depth, continuity, and trust. The dream may not come every night, but the brain, like a tide, knows how to return. If your sleep has been restless lately, know this. You are not alone. You are not failing. You are not broken. Your mind may be asking for softness. Your body may be calling for rhythm. These things can be reclaimed with care, patience, and the willingness to rest. Even in silence, your mind is listening. When the time is right, dreaming will resume, and it may return not just with images, but with echoes from far beyond yourself. How have dreams been shaped by culture, by time, by belief? How do people in different places listen to the language of sleep? Before scanners, before psychology, before we could name REM or measure brain waves, humans were already dreaming, already wondering, what are these visions that visit us in the dark? Where do they come from? What are they trying to say? For as long as we have slept, we have carried our dreams into the waking world. Across continents, cultures, and centuries, we have tried to understand them. In ancient Mesopotamia, dreams were messages from the gods. Clay tablets over 3,000 years old record interpretations of night visions, instructions, warnings, omens wrapped in symbol. To dream of a flood meant abundance. To dream of a lion, danger. The dreamer was thought to stand on a bridge between heaven and earth. The dream was the crossing point. In ancient Egypt, dreams were considered divine communication. Priests served as interpreters, and people visited temples specifically to sleep, to incubate dreams for healing, prophecy, or guidance. These dream temples were sacred spaces where sleep was not passive, but active listening. The Greeks followed similar paths. In the temples of Asclepius, the god of medicine, the sick came to sleep, to dream and be healed. Dreams were recorded on walls, studied for symbols, and translated into remedies. Later, Aristotle and Hippocrates offered more natural explanations, arguing that dreams reflected the body's inner state, its imbalances and needs. In this way, the dream began to move from the gods toward the self. In indigenous cultures, dreams remain deeply woven into life and identity. Among the Ojibwe, dreams are part of the soul's unfolding. Children are taught to listen to them, to honor their guidance. The dream catcher, hung above a bed, is not just decoration, it is a tool to sift harmful visions from helpful ones. Among Aboriginal Australians, the dream time is not merely about sleep. It is the mythic past, the creation of the world, a sacred time still alive beneath waking life. To dream is to touch the original stories of the earth. In South American shamanic traditions, dreams are used for navigation, for understanding illness, and for spiritual guidance. Plants, rituals, and chants deepen dream clarity and access inner realms. The boundary between sleep and vision is not always clear, nor is it meant to be. In China, ancient texts from the Zhou dynasty contain dream manuals, catalogues of meaning, and systems for interpretation. Dreams were considered messages from ancestors or reflections of cosmic imbalance. Even emperors consulted dream interpreters. In Islamic tradition, dreams carry spiritual significance. The Prophet Muhammad spoke of dreams as one of the remaining pieces of prophecy. Rules distinguish dreams from God, from the self, and from chaos. A good dream is a gift, to be kept private or shared with the wise. In Hinduism, dreaming is one of 4 states of consciousness: Jagrat, waking; Svapna, dreaming; Sushupti, deep sleep; and Turiya, pure awareness. Each dream reflects karma and inner work. The gods themselves dream creation into being. the universe uncoiling from the sleeping mind. In Buddhist teachings, dreams are illusions, mirrors for the mind's attachments. They are useful but not final. Practices like dream yoga allow the dreamer to become conscious within the dream, cultivating compassion, clarity, and even awakening. The cultural lenses may differ, but the reverence is shared. Dreams are rarely dismissed. Even in modern psychology, which often leans toward material explanations, dreams hold sway. Freud viewed dreams as revealing the unconscious, desires dressed in disguise. Jung saw dreams as messages from the deeper self, nightly myth-making, guiding individuation, the becoming of wholeness. Today, neuroscience studies function, memory processing, emotional regulation, and problem-solving. Yet even the most skeptical scientists cannot ignore the poetry of dreams. We know dreams heal. We know they simulate, reflect, and rewire. But beyond science, there is something older. A shared human knowing that dreams connect us to parts of ourselves we cannot meet in daylight. Your dream may feel yours alone, yet its symbols, its shapes, have echoed across oceans and generations. To dream of falling, returning home, water, animals, or flight. These are not just private events. They are part of the great dream archive we all contribute to and draw from. Even the way we tell dreams, "I was there, but it wasn't there. I knew it was them, but it didn't look like them," has a rhythm that transcends language. Dreams have a grammar, and we seem to speak it instinctively. In this way, dreams are both intimate and universal. They are shaped by personal history, but also by the stories of one's people, the myths of the land, the memory of being human. While science can measure where dreams begin, culture shows why we listen. Dreams have guided communities, healed wounds, aided decisions, and transmitted knowledge. Even now, in a world that feels loud, when sleep is rushed and dreams often ignored, many still turn to them not for answers, but for direction. Dreams offer more than data. They offer reflection. In the pause between dreaming and waking, you hold a thread, fragile and glowing. Whether you weave it into meaning or let it drift away, it is part of the same long conversation humans have had for millennia. The night speaks, and across cultures and time, we have answered back with art, with story, with science, with prayer. Tonight you lie down as one person, but you dream with the whole world. And as we continue this journey, we leave myth behind for a moment and return to the body, to the mechanics of the mind. What is a dream beneath the metaphor? What happens in the brain the moment a dream takes shape? What biology lies beneath the wonder? A dream begins not in magic, but in motion. It starts with a whisper, an impulse traveling down a neural path. One cell talks to the next. A flicker, a rhythm, a network alive. Even in sleep, your brain never truly rests. Even as your body softens, it conducts a quiet symphony of chemistry and current. During REM sleep, your brainstem sends signals upward, activating regions responsible for vision, emotion, and memory. Acetylcholine rises, a neurotransmitter that sharpens and excites. Meanwhile, serotonin and norepinephrine, your daytime stabilizers, dim their glow. The result is a vivid, dream-rich state, sensory, emotional, surreal. The brainstem sets REM in motion. The thalamus carries dream images to the visual cortex. The amygdala pulses with feeling, while logic takes a back seat. And yet somehow, from all this firing and flickering comes story. The same matter that powers memory and movement can create worlds of red oceans, spiraling staircases, voices you haven't heard in years. It is biology, yet it feels like poetry, because dreaming is one of the few human acts that lives in both worlds at once, mechanical and mysterious, electrical and emotional. Perhaps that is why it feels sacred. A dream is a reminder that you are more than your waking thoughts, that within the folds of your brain, entire landscapes bloom and vanish before your eyes ever open. You are stardust and circuitry, cells and stories, synapses and symbols, and all of it, the memories, the fears, the colors, the healing, happens each night as you close your eyes and surrender. So tonight, when the lights go low and your breath begins to slow, remember this. Even if you do not recall your dreams, they are happening, they are working. They are walking the quiet corridors of your mind, tending to what is tangled, making space for what wants to grow. You do not need to chase them. You only need to rest. And if this journey into the dreaming brain has brought you even a moment of calm, of wonder, of softness, then it has been worth every word. Thank you for letting me drift beside you tonight. Even if the dreams seem distant, your brain is still dreaming. It is still weaving, restoring, tending, and whispering worlds into being. Sleep well, dream deep. And remember, tonight, as every night, the quiet work of your mind continues.